Hello, this is Ray again after 1 month on travel. So it's time for a new little video log, and that is a little bit about gear and thoughts on my travel to Australia. Okay, this is Ray from explorerray.com, and I just want to share with you a little bit about my travel to Australia, and a little bit about, like you can see, gear and things that I brought. First off, I will say that Australia is just a fantastic continent. I have been now on a 3-week trip. I came back on Monday evening. Now it's Saturday, and I have barely had time to process all the things that have happened. And I'm starting to look at images, and I have been posting a little bit, and so on and so forth. For those of you who aren't that familiar with what I have been posting online on my blog, explorerray.com, I have been traveling first to Sydney to see New Year's Eve, then I traveled up to Cairns and the areas around, the Tablelands, Cape Tribulation, the Daintree Rainforest. Then I traveled onwards to Alice Springs, Ulara, and all these places. And then last but not least, I went back to Tasmania, or I went to Tasmania and ended up in Melbourne. Then I went home. This was a total fantastic trip. It was so many things that happened. It was truly great. I would really recommend going there. But I have some thoughts about practicalities of travel and practicalities of being a solo photographer, traveler, something like this. One of the things that I've done, which I actually find quite fun, that was that I'm trying to write notes on everything that I did. So actually a travel photography tip or travel tip, I would say, and I have tried doing it before, but I often stop doing it midways and so on. It's just to have a notepad. This kind of journalism pad is very nice. Just write some notes. But what actually worked even better for me was that I brought my Zoom H5. My Zoom H5 is very good at, I can use it as a microphone for when I do video recordings, and I can also use it as a just a sound handy recorder, just to take up things. So what I did was that every single evening or day on my trip, I took a couple of minutes and just reread into the hand recorder what I had experienced that day or the day before. So I have kind of an audio log of everything I did, and that was actually kind of cool. Another thing, I might not be sharing it too much, and just be very careful if you're doing this. The handy recorder, the Zoom or the similar type of recorder have a very, very strong microphone. So for example, if you're on a bus or something, or you just want to record something, you can actually do it quite concealed. Just have it in your bag and you can record it. Just be sure that you're not violating anyone's privacy if you do such a thing. I, for instance, did this when some of the guides were giving some general information about where we had been and where we were going and so on. They didn't mind that. That was kind of fine. But just be very, very careful not to record people concealed that don't know about it and try to hide it from them. But it's very nice to have this kind of information recorded, because then you can go back and and find it what you actually thought or meant or where you were or something like that when you're on the trip. So that is actually a very nice thing. Another thing actually, before I start going through a little bit more about practicalities of the trip itself, was actually this thing here. I have shown it to you before. This is the Color Space UDMI Hyperdrive UDMI 2, which is a external hard drive, which you can actually see photos and everything on that hard drive. This is actually quite a stunning piece of kit. I actually took, on these 3 weeks of travel, when I took backup of all my audio files, all my video and all my images, I have taken over 400 gigabytes of information. And that is quite a lot. And what is really nice with it is that I can actually go home, just attach it to my computer, and I can download it to Lightroom or something else. I can copy it to a hard drive on my computer, on my storage system, and then I can just import them in Lightroom. The little bit stupid thing with it is that I have a small laptop computer with me when I'm traveling. And I import a lot of the images on that. The problem is that on my laptop I only have like 200 gigabytes on the system itself. So when I imported the images, I had to take them out on another external hard drive on this. So what I actually did was that I took all the raw files, all the raw files and all the raw material I put on this. I took everything, imported the images and so on my laptop, and I took backup of my laptop to another external hard drive. When I get home, I just imported the raw files into my system, and I uploaded the things I have done on the trip and so on. I uploaded them to Smugma, which I use as my professional gallery site and backup site, you can say. So, and also I transferred the converted DNG files for Lightroom, imported them also to my computer. But it's actually a little bit logistics, making sure that you have everything when you get home, especially when you're talking about 6,000-7,000 images and something like that, maybe a couple of hundred small video clips or something like that when you're getting home. And that actually brings me to a very, very interesting point. I use primarily 4 cameras. This I have never used actually, kind of. I have never used this before, and not in a good way at least. This is the Olympus Tough TG something 930. It's a kind of cheap tough camera, weather sealed, everything. I used it on a Great Barrier Reef. One of my coolest images I ever taken on, at least on the water, was taken here, and that was a tortoise, which I took an image of. It's really tough. It can take water, it handled without any problems, and that was very nice. Another camera I also only used this trip on the Great Barrier Reef was my GoPro. Very nice piece of kit. I've used it before and it worked like a charm this time. And then we come to my 4 main cameras. This is my, I've talked a lot about it. This is my Fujifilm X100S. I can't give it enough praise. It's a fantastic piece of kit. Brilliant. But when push comes to shove, I only used it for one single thing, and that was street photography in Melbourne town. I used it to take some images when I was in restaurants and something like that, when I was like, I didn't care about bringing a big camera. I just want to be a little bit touristy, a little bit more stealthy, but I wasn't using it much at all. I was kind of surprised. I really adore this camera, and I think the way it produces light in low light situations, like a lit up street at night and something like this, is spectacular, but still I didn't use it much at all. I maybe only took during this trip maybe a couple of hundred images. Very few images took with that. But okay, that's a lesson learned. You have other options which I use more. And the main reason, I guess, that I didn't use my X100S is because I brought, of course, my new Nikon. And for instance, and this is my Nikon D810. And I brought, of course, that. And this is a camera which I adore before I went to Australia, and I even adore it more now afterwards, because this is the first time I actually used it quite a lot, and this is the first time I actually have been comfortable enough to actually see its potential, and it's quite stunning. It's a brilliant piece of kit. Of course, the two other cameras I used the most was my Canon 60, which is a general purpose all-rounder, which is very nice and very good camera, as you all know, and of course the one I maybe used the most, or I guess I used my 5D Mark III most, together with the D810, the 60 the third most, the X100S the fourth, and the GoPro and Olympus the last, but that was specialty type cameras. But a little thing about this, and this is why I brought it up when it comes to logistics and everything. I might be a little bit strange as a photographer to not only have, like, okay, most people have one camera, they might have two, they might have three, and I bring, like you say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras with me, and I use all of them. And this isn't the worst. I also brought my mobile phone. I took a couple of images on that, but that was just like, okay, maybe. And I brought my drone. Unfortunate thing about my drone was that it broke on the flight down there, even if I had a secure case. But I will get back to that later when I will try to explain that a little bit later, but I'm discussing with my insurance company, which aren't too helpful at the moment. But I will definitely do a little segment about that later. But one thing I have learned the hard way, and I was very particular when I was setting up for this trip, when I was doing so many different cameras, was to make sure that the date was synchronized on all my cameras. The thing was that even if they were, I got actually a little bit strange. It was a little bit strange consequence. Because I was in Australia, which is as far away as from Norway as you can get almost, even if I used the same Norwegian date stamp on all my cameras, when I import them to Lightroom, they are fine. The problem is that, like, a lot of the activities that I used, started early in the morning, of course. And when I'm looking into Lightroom and they have imported it, a lot of the images from one day is put in the folder for the day before. So it's just something to notice. Okay, so that's a little tip. Always synchronize your cameras to make sure that when you're importing it and you're sorting it in afterwards, they are correctly. I want to talk a little bit about lenses and so on. What I bring, why and how. This isn't, I guess the only lens I haven't shown here, which I have with me, is the Canon 1635 wide angle, which is a brilliant lens. I used it quite a lot. It was a lot of landscapes. But what I want to talk to you a little bit about is this one. This is my Sigma 35mm 1.4 brilliant lens for Nikon. I brought this instead of my Canon version 50mm because I wanted to bring my D810. For instance, when I was in Sydney, during the New Year's Eve party, I brought 3 cameras to my New Year's Eve party. I brought my Nikon D810 with this camera, I brought my Canon Legria, which I'm filming this on so I can show you, and I brought my Fuji X100S. Shooting fireworks at 35mm at 1.4 with the Nikon D810, it was some spectacular results. At 12 o'clock, I kid you not, I changed actually my memory card to, I think it was a brand new 16GB memory card. I changed it like a 11:45, and first I shot like 2 minutes of the countdown on my Canon Legria, and then I put Canon away. The fireworks lasted for 14 minutes, and I took this camera with the lens and I shot the entire 16GB. That was like 400 images of the fireworks at 12 o'clock, and I got some stunning images. The details are brilliant, it is fast. I was looking at it in Lightroom yesterday and I could just like pop, 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 pop. I can see everything. It was, I could almost make a time lapse out of the photo, of the images that I took. So I also used it for shooting like landscapes up at Ulara, sunsets and so on. I would say brilliant combination. And when I'm on the Nikon, I can't get past, of course, in the Sigma 150-600, which I've had so many. It's kind of, I thank you all for watching my videos. I've had over 11,000 views on my comparison of the Sigma 120-300, 150-600 and my 300-800, but and most of them are interested in the 150-600. This is actually a lens I adore now. In the combination with 150-600, I have taken shots of Tasmanian devils, I've taken shots of kangaroos, I've taken shots of eagles, handheld, a lot of other animals and landscapes and everything, and it's just stunning. It's just utterly stunning, high performance, magnificent lens. I'm truly impressed with what Sigma has done, and I'm truly happy. And one of the very nice thing I enjoy about it also is that it's weather sealed. It has been pouring rain, both in Ulara, in the Daintree rainforest, in Tasmania, all these places. It has been pouring down. We went to the Daintree. I went to the Daintree. We were going on a Daintree River cruise up in that there and looking for crocodiles. And I brought the lens, I brought the monopod, and I was sitting outside and people were like watching me. Who is this guy? He has to be a professional photographer and so on. And I was shooting crocodiles, and yeah, it was really cool. And as a wildlife photographer's lens, I would really recommend this. It's brilliant, and the versatility because of the not that bad weight as not as bad weight as the 120-300 or as the 300-800. It just stands out. And I would definitely say that Sigma has done the right thing as a substitute for the 150-500, which are much more mobile, but I think it's another quality grade lens than this. So, a little bit of praise about that. Another thing I want to show, of course, this is not very exciting news or information, but these two lenses here, the 24-70 2.8 IS, which is taken to be the absolutely best zoom lens of them all, it has been regarded as. I understand why. And the 20 or the 70 to 200. When I only brought on days when I was shooting like in museums, I was shooting like in pretty organized environments and so on and so forth. What I did was actually I just brought my Canon 60 and my Canon 5D Mark III, and I used those two lenses. Especially since it has been raining and all these things, and both of them are weather sealed. It was really nice because I could do like everything at those focal lengths, and that worked brilliantly. The last lens I actually would like to mention is this one. I was a little bit apprehensive about should I bring it or should I not. This is the 815 fisheye from Canon, which I purchased last year. A totally brilliant lens. I finally understand why and what I'm actually supposed to do with it. I used it actually to shoot a lot at Ulara because of the magnificent rock formations and because of the sheer size of the entire thing. It was so cool to have a fisheye lens which brought everything that was close, really close, and everything that shouldn't be close, very far away. And I got some really nice, artistically cool shots at that site. I also used it a lot in Tasmania on like large rock formations. For instance, I took an image of the Tasman Arch, which is a large like kind of bridge or arch in as a rock formation in the sea kind of thing. It gives some stunning results, and that it's weather sealed in addition, it's just brilliant. So, this was just like a short, I am home, I am starting to contemplate what I'm actually have been doing for the last 3 weeks, and I've been thinking a little bit about equipment and so on and so forth. I will post a lot more images about my trip, about what I'm doing and so on and so forth in the upcoming days and weeks and probably months. I have enough images to share for years to come. And but please, if you like what I do, please subscribe to my videos. Please subscribe to my blog, www.explorerray.com. I'm on Twitter, @RaymondHagen. And send me an email or anything, just let me know. I'm here to, I will reply to you, and I'm just happy to share my thoughts and respond to your inquiries. So, on that note, I wish you all a very, very nice and happy weekend. And until next time, have safe travels, enjoy your photography, and goodbye.